Because of their family ratings, Disney often leaves a lot to the imagination. This is especially true when it comes to the tragic deaths of certain characters. Sometimes their deaths are not as simple as they seem, or even deaths at all. Let's take a look back at some of the craziest theories to form over Disney's dead characters. Before you watch, click subscribe. You'll join our notification squad and be the first to know of brand new content. Can you guess which movie is represented by these emojis? Stay tuned to the end to find out.
Yeah, people will beat you and curse you and cheat you. Every one of them's bad, except you.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Sven's mother. During the opening moments of Frozen, we're introduced to extremely young versions of Kristoff and his beloved pet Sven. How could such a young boy be given full responsibility over a young reindeer? The answer was clear. Sven's mother must be dead. This revelation opened up a whole Pandora's box of theories and suggestions. Was she hunted down by the ice workers and killed for meat? Was Sven too young to kill and Kristoff got to raise him? Did the magical trolls use Sven's mother for casting spells?
Shush, I'm trying to listen.
While some of those seem a little far-fetched, there's one which makes sense. Sven's mother fell through the ice and died. Day in and day out, these workers are cutting into the ice and removing large chunks of it. One small snowstorm could cover up patches of exposed water, making it nearly impossible for Sven's mother to see. She slipped through the ice and likely froze to death. This theory makes more sense than her being hunted, especially when you consider the deerskin gear Kristoff wears. It's obviously the skin of the mother after she was retrieved from the freezing waters. We can't imagine he would wear the pelt if she was cruelly gunned down.
Bambi, quick, the thicket!
Bambi's mother's killer reveal. When discussing some of the saddest Disney deaths, the shooting of Bambi's mother is right up there on the list. Blasted by a hunter, Bambi witnessed a tragic killing no son should ever see. The man who pulled the trigger was never actually revealed, but some heavy sleuthing from dedicated Disney fans may have uncovered the truth. During the popular 2D animation days, everything was hand-drawn and computer graphics were extremely limited. To help cut costs and speed up production, a number of Disney films used recycled footage. The footage would be flipped, colored differently, or added with a whole new backdrop. In Beauty and the Beast, a number of landscape shots relied on recycled footage. See the deer in the forest? This is an old animation of Bambi's mother. Theoretically, animators have placed the story of Bambi into the world of Beauty and the Beast. The only logical conclusion was Gaston shot and killed Bambi's mother.
Wow, you didn't miss a shot, Gaston! You're the greatest hunter in the whole world!
I know.
For a man who loves to brag about his hunting skills, shooting Bambi's mother would be effortless. The head of the deer is likely hanging in the lodge Gaston loves to drink, boast, and sing at, as if his evil deeds weren't enough already. Sully gets caught. If you're wondering why Pixar decided to make a prequel to Monsters, Inc. instead of a sequel, the answer may lie in Sully. If this theory proves to be true, then Sully has been killed by humans. Let's take a step back for a second. In the original Monsters, Inc., there's a small scene where Randall discusses humans. He talks about human desires to kill monsters, skin them, and use their fur for toilet seat covers. The throwaway line didn't have much to do with the plot, but would make a huge difference years later. In a 2012 short, Partysaurus Rex, Bonnie takes a bath and plays with all of her bath toys. During wide shots of the bathroom, take a close look at the toilet seat. A furry cover suspiciously looking like the fur of Sully. Does this mean Sully is dead? And who killed him? Was Woody and the gang trying to protect Bonnie when Sully came bursting through the closet door? Either way, it's pretty disturbing to think about Sully getting brutally killed and turned into the toilet seat cover. Hopefully Boo doesn't ever find out, or we'll have to see a Boo vs. Bonnie showdown in the future.
Long live the king.
Scar and Gaston's fates. If you were a kid growing up in the 90s, then there were some pretty wicked Disney villains you had to deal with. In The Lion King, Scar kills Mufasa, forces Simba to leave his pride, and then takes over the land like an evil tyrant. In Beauty and the Beast, Gaston has Belle's father arrested, wants to force her hand in marriage, and leads a huge attack on Beast's castle. Thankfully, both evildoers meet their demise, but it could have looked very different if things panned out the way they were supposed to. For Gaston, it's pretty obvious he dies, but this wasn't supposed to be his final scene. In a callback to earlier in the film, Gaston was supposed to survive the fall, only to be surrounded by wild wolves who devour him. The moment was deemed too violent, but obviously stayed in the minds of Disney animators. Just a few short years later, Scar got the Gaston treatment. After suffering a huge fall, Scar was mauled and attacked by a group of raging hyenas who turned on him. This is the death Gaston was supposed to have.
If you will not fight, then you will die as well.
ZIRA'S controversial death. If you thought Scar was evil in The Lion King, then you can't imagine how evil Zira is in The Lion King 2. She offers her son up as a punishment, treats her lion cubs terribly, and shows no remorse for any of the evil actions she takes. Her obsession with avenging Scar and killing Simba was truly insane and led to her ultimate demise when she falls off a cliff and into raging waters. Zira's death may have been a lot different if everything was animated the way it was originally planned. For years, fans speculated Zira let go on purpose, killing herself instead of allowing Simba's daughter Kiara to rescue her. This theory gained more legs with the release of The Lion King 2 deleted scenes. In an extended scene, Zira straight out refuses to accept Kiara's help. With an evil look in her eye, Zira responds to Kiara, telling her she'll help with no, never. She then pushes off the cliff and meets her demise in the water. This death would make the film pretty dark, and Disney ended up cutting the scene for obvious reasons. The Emperor's New Fly. In The Emperor's New Groove, we see Kuzco get turned into a llama and Yzma get transformed into a cat. But those may not be the only transformations featured in the movie. During a scene in the forest, Kuzco travels alone and is surrounded by a lot of dark and scary creatures. This is emphasized by a large spider devouring a fly trapped in its web. While it may seem innocent at first, really analyze the scene. The fly screams and pleads for help multiple times. This has caused fans of the movie to theorize that the fly was actually a transformed human. The theory actually makes a lot of sense. You hear the fly clearly talk and communicate like a human. And in The Emperor's New Groove, only the humans who have transformed into animals have the ability to do this.
Hi, excuse me.
Adding to this is the clear inspiration the scene takes from the horror movie The Fly. In the film, a human is transformed into a mutated fly and suffers the same fate. These clues clearly showcase some validity to the theory and darkest moment found in the film.
Peter!
Captain Hook and Ariel's mother. In The Little Mermaid, it's clear Ariel's mother isn't in the picture. But Disney really wanted to stick it to us and showcase exactly how she died in an emotional flashback scene featuring a toddler Ariel. In the unnecessary Little Mermaid, Ariel's Beginning, we meet Queen Athena as she plays with her daughters and shares her love of music with them. Even though they thought the cove was private, they were proven wrong when a large ship comes crashing into the area. Queen Athena makes the mistake of trying to save a music box and gets killed in the process. Her body is never recovered and we never see her again. Who exactly was on the crash-landing pirate ship? Some theories have connected the source of the killer to none other than Captain Hook himself. Mermaids are a part of the Peter Pan story, and there's a popular theory that one of the mermaids in the original Peter Pan is actually Queen Athena. If this is the case, then maybe Captain Hook was hunting down the mermaids for being allies with Peter Pan all along. Either way, Disney added a death scene we never wanted to see, and now our minds are racing coming up with dark theories about it. Thanks a lot.
That's an echo, gentlemen. Just a little something we have here in Louisiana. A little parlor trick, don't worry.
Dr. Facilier's shadows. Voodoo magic is the cornerstone of evil Dr. Facilier's plans in The Princess and the Frog. In an attempt to take over New Orleans, Dr. Facilier contacts some of his friends from the other side, and no, we're not talking about some buddies down in Mississippi. The evildoers come in the form of shadows. These shadow monsters are separate from their beings, and Dr. Facilier's own shadow seems to have a life of its own. One dark theory states that the shadow demons in The Princess and the Frog may actually be dead lost boys or even Peter Pan himself. In Peter Pan, we see him chasing his shadow around Wendy's room. The shadow has a whole life of its own, separate from Pan's body. The Peter Pan film never really explained why his shadow acted like it did, but Dr. Facilier made it pretty clear. Voodoo magic. When the Doctor is dragged to his own death by these friends, it's clear he's the next one to become a shadow monster. This means Peter Pan may have suffered the same fate for messing with some magic and a little too much fairy dust. Maybe Tinkerbell was experimenting with different spells other than flying.
Hello, Oogie.
Jack, but they said you were dead.
The Oogie Boogie Man's origins. The Nightmare Before Christmas packs a lot of content into the movie, but one of the more frustrating parts is not learning more about the origins of the Oogie Boogie Man. Through the years, it's been proven that every citizen of Halloween Town died in the real world in some gruesome way and ended up in Halloween Town because of it. The Oogie Boogie Man's origins are not as obvious, but there are a few clues to piece together. One of the main forms comes in the form of Oogie Boogie's body. He's essentially a large burlap sack filled with thousands of small bugs. The sack itself may represent Oogie Boogie's loss of skin through torture or possible fire. Theories have pointed to all the bugs as a sign of his decaying corpse. He may have been buried alive or just left for dead. bed. Then there's the whole casino theme in his lair to help tie everything together. The casino elements may seem random, but all signs point to the Oogie Boogie Man being a mob boss and casino owner during the Prohibition era. Some unpaid debts and rivals likely led to his gruesome demise and the hatred of people like Jack Skellington. Peter Pan, the Angel of Death? The story of Peter Pan is open to so many interpretations and theories. I mean, it's about a flying boy who takes children to a magical land where they never age, can fight pirates, and search for buried treasure. Oh yeah, there's mermaids and a friendly group of natives as well.
Mermaids?
Would you like to meet him?
Oh, Peter, I'd love to.
Through the years, people have taken this stack of facts and turned them into theory after theory. Some of them pin Peter Pan as an angel, while others consider him the angel of death. Let's check out the happy theory first. Neverland is essentially a form of heaven. When a child passes away, Peter the angel flies to their homes, takes their hands, and leads them to Neverland. This is one of the main reasons the children don't age. If you look on the flip side, Peter could also be considered the angel of death. In the original Peter Pan book, if a lost boy aged, Peter Pan would kill them off. He became so obsessed with being a child that he grew hatred for anyone who wasn't. The theory expands to explain Captain Hook was actually one of the lost boys who got away. Which side do you find more convincing? Does it change your view of Peter Pan? And there you have it. What theory do you believe the most? Are there any that we missed? What was the saddest Disney death ever? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to Screen Rant on YouTube so you can stay up to date with our awesome videos. The answer to our emoji quiz is